Okay, we're live. It's late. It's really late. But I want to get one in because it's been so long. Um, and we have Emily Dickinson. We have um, I don't know, a book of her collected poems that I found at the library. Um, and I don't really know my way around Emily Dickinson, so we're just gonna be sampling. Um, yeah, we're gonna start in the 400s of her poems. Maybe we'll move on to the 500s. If we're feeling dangerous, we'll get into the 700s. Um, But yeah, let's just see how it is, because I need to write an essay about her, and I haven't read any of her. So, 416. The months have ends, the years, a knot no power can untie, to stretch a little further, a skein of misery. The earth lays back these tired lives in her mysterious drawers, too tenderly that any doubt an ultimate repose. The manner of the children, who weary of the day themselves, the noisy plaything they cannot put away. 418. Your riches taught me poverty, myself a millionaire in little wealths, as girls could boast, till broad as the Buenos Aires, you drifted your dominions, a different Peru, and I esteemed all poverty for life's estate with you. Of mines I know little myself, but just the names of gems, the colors of the commonest, and scarce of diadems. So much that I did meet the queen, her glory I should know. But this must be a different wealth, to miss it beggars so. I'm sure 'tis India all day, to those who look on you, without a stint, without a blame, my eye but be the Jew. I'm sure it is Golconda, beyond my power to deem. To smile for mine each day, how better than a gem? At least its solace is to know that there exists a gold, although I prove it just in time, its distance to behold. It's far, far treasure to surmise and estimate the pearl that slipped my simple fingers through while just a girl at school. 419. A toad can die of light. Death is the common right of toads and men, of earl and midge, the privilege. Why swagger then? The gnat's supremacy is large as thine. Life is a different thing. So measure wine, naked of flask, naked of cask. Bear Rhine, which ruby's mine? 'Let's go on to the famous one, to 479. Exciting titles from Emily Dickinson. Because I could not stop for death, he kindly stops for me. The carriage held but just ourselves and immortality. We slowly drove, he knew no haste, and I had put away my labor and my leisure too, for his civility. We passed the school where children strove at recess in the ring. We passed the fields of gazing grain. We passed the setting sun, or rather, he passed us. The dews drew quivering and chill, for only gossamer my gown, my tippet only tulle. We paused before a house that seemed a swelling of the ground. The roof was scarcely visible, the cornice in the ground. Since then, 'tis centuries, and yet feels shorter than the day I first surmised the horses' heads were toward eternity. 484. From blank to blank, a threadless way, I pushed mechanic feet to stop or perish or advance, alike indifferent. If I, if end I gained, it ends beyond, indefinite disclosed. I shut my eyes and groped as well. 'Twas lighter to be blind. I'm gonna reread that one. From blank to blank, a threadless way, I pushed mechanic feet to stop or perish or advance, alike indifferent. If end I gained, it ends beyond, indefinitely disclosed. I shut my eyes and groped as well. 'Twas lighter to be blind. 488. You constituted time, I deemed eternity, a revelation of yourself. 'Twas therefore deity, the absolute removed, the relative away, that I unto himself adjust my slow idolatry. That's good. 489. My faith is larger than the hills, so when the hills decay, my faith must take the purple wheel to show the sun the way. 'Tis first he steps upon the vane, and then upon the hill, and then abroad the world he go to do his golden will. And if his yellow feet should miss, the bird would not arise, the flowers would slumber on their stems, no bells have paradise. How dare I, therefore, stint a faith on which so vast depends, lest firmament should fail for me, the rivet in the bands. I think that's a very clever poem, but I don't quite get it. Let's go to the 500s. Oh, this one sounds good. 532. The winters are so short, I'm hardly justified in sending all the birds away and moving into pod myself, for scarcely settled. The Phoebes have begun, and then it's time to strike my tent and open house again. It's mostly interruptions. My summer is despoiled, because there was a winter once and all the cattle starved. And so there was a deluge and swept the world away. But Ararat's a legend now, and no one credits Noah. 536. Some work for immortality, the chiefer part for time. He compensates immediately. The former checks on fame. Slow gold, but everlasting, the bullion of today, contrasted with the currency of immortality. A beggar, here and there, is gifted to discern, beyond the broker's insight, one's money, one's the mine. 539. Delight becomes pictorial when viewed through pain, more fair because impossible, that any gain. The mountain at a distance given, an amber lies, approached, the amber flits a little, and that's the skies. 610. From cocoon forth a butterfly, as lady from her door, emerged a summer afternoon, repairing everywhere. without design that I could trace except to stay abroad on miscellaneous enterprise the clovers understood. Her pretty parasol be seen contracting in a field where men made hay and struggling hard with an opposite cloud, where parties, phantom as herself, to nowhere seems to go. It in purposeless circumference, as 'twere a tropic show. Notwithstanding bee, that worked, and flower, that zealous blew, this audience of idleness disdained them from the sky, till sundown crept, a steady tide, and men that made hay, an afternoon and butterfly, extinguished in the sea. Oh, here, 6:56. I started early, took my dog, and visited the sea. The mermaids in the basement came out to look at me, and frigates in the upper floor extended hempen hands, presuming me to be a mouse, aground upon the sands. But no man moved me, till the tide went past my simple shoe, and past my apron and my belt, and past my bodice too, and made as he would eat me up, as wholly as a dew, upon a dandelion's sleeve. And then I started too, and he followed close behind. I felt his silver heel upon my ankle, then my shoes would overflow with pearl, until we met the solid town. No one he seemed to know, and bowing with a mighty look, at me the sea withdrew. I like that one. That's probably the easiest one to read so far for me. I don't know why, but my reading style just does not mesh very well with Emily Dickinson's poems. I just can't get them to quite flow right. Um, just on my first reading. Just my natural cadence does not align with hers. 688. To know just how he suffered would be dear. To know if any human eyes were near, to whom he could entrust his wavering gaze, until it settled broad on paradise. To know if he was patient, part content, was dying as he thought, or different. Was it a pleasant day to die? And did the sunshine face his way? Was his furthest mind of home or God? And what the distance say? And news that he ceased human nature such a day? And wishes, had he any? Just his sigh, accented, had been legible to me, and he was confident until ill fluttered out an everlasting well. And if he spoke, what name was best? What last? What one broke off with at the drowsiest? Was he afraid or tranquil? Might he know how conscious consciousness could grow? Till love that was, and love too best to be, meet, and the junction be eternity. 698. I live with him, I see his face. I go no more away, for visitor or sundown, death's single privacy, the only one forestalling mine, and that, by right that he presents a claim invisible, no wedlock granted me. I live with him, I hear his voice, I stand alive today, to witness with to the certainty of immortality, taught me by time the lower way, conviction every day, that life like this is stopless, be judgment what it may. 705. I am ashamed, I hide. What right have I to be a bride? So late a dowerless girl, Nowhere to hide my dazzled face, no one to teach me that new grace, nor introduce my soul, me to adorn, how tell, trinket to make me beautiful, fabrics of cashmere, never a gown of dun, more raiment instead of pompadour, for me, my soul to wear. Fingers to frame my round hair, oval as feudal ladies wore, far fashions fair, skill to hold my brow like an earl, plead like a whippoorwill, prove like pearl. Then for character, fashion my spirit quaint, white, quick like a liquor, gay like light. Bring me my best pride, no more ashamed, no more to hide. Meek let it be, too proud for pride. Baptized this day a bride. Mm. I thought it was a little uncouth to be drinking cheap beers and reading poetry. I think it's the American tradition, and we should be doing that. But tonight I've switched it up, and we have a Manhattan and water because I think I've been dehydrated for the last like 4 days. Um, and I need to make a change and start actually hydrating myself, which is the only solution to dehydration, actually. So I've learned. Okay. 782. Renunciation is a piercing virtue, the letting go, a presence for an expectation. Not now, the putting out of eyes, just sunrise, less day, day's great progenitor, out thy. Renunciation is the choosing against itself to justify. Unto itself, when larger function, make that appear smaller, that covered vision here. 897. Yeah. She sped as petals from a rose, offended by the wind, a frail aristocrat of time, indemnity to find, leaving on nature a default as cricket or as bee, but Andes in the bosoms where she had begun to lie. 898. An hour is a sea, between a few and me, with them would harbor be. Hmm. 1,000. Lest this be heaven indeed, an obstacle is given that gauges a degree between ourself and heaven. Lots of short poems here in the early thousands. Lots of short poems. Let's see. Let's get some longer. Ooh, we have some anaphora. Um, 1068. Under the light, yet under the grass and the dirt, under the beetle's cellar, under the clover's root, further than arm could stretch, were it giant long, further than sunshine could, were the day year long, over the light, yet over the arc of the bird, over the comet's chimney, over the cubit's head, further than guess can gallop, further than riddle ride. Oh, for a disk to the distance between ourselves and the dead. It is interesting how she really eschews rhyme and like the expected cadence and pattern, or the phonetic pattern is just not present at the end of a lot of these poems. She sets it up and then she kind of disregards it, which is quite the statement for the time she was writing poetry, at least. Um, really saying that you don't have to fall into this pattern or this dogmatic way of writing poetry. 11:21. The sky is low, the clouds are mean. A traveling flake of snow across a barn or through a rut debates if it will go. A narrow wind complains all day how someone treated him. Nature, like us, is sometimes caught without her diadem. 12:25. The mountains stood in haze, the valleys stopped below, and went or waited as they liked, the river and the sky. At leisure was the sun, his interests of fire. A little from remark withdrawn, the twilight spoke the spire. So soft upon the scene an act of evening fell. We felt how neighborly a thing was the invisible. 13:14. Because that you are going and never coming back, and I, however absolute, may overlook your track. Because that death is final, however first it be, this instant be suspended above mortality. Significance that each has lived, the other to detect, discovery not God himself can now annihilate. Eternity, presumption, the instant I perceive that you who were existence, yourself forgot to live. The life that is will then have been, a thing I never knew, as paradise fictitious until the realm of you. The life that is to be, to me, a residence too plain, unless in my Redeemer's face I recognize your own. Of immortality who doubts, he may exchange with me, curtailed by your obscuring face, of everything but he. Of heaven and hell I also yield the right to reprehend, to whoso would commute this face for his less priceless friend. If God is love as he admits, we think that he must be, because he is a jealous God. He tells us certainly, if all is possible with him, as he besides concedes, he re he will refund us finally our confiscated gods. That's an interesting statement on paganism or idolatry, but I'm sensing that theme in a lot of her poems. 1549. A faded boy in sallow clothes, who drove a lonesome cow to pastures of oblivion, a statesman's embryo. The boys that whistled are extinct, the cows that fed and thanked, remanded to a ballad's barn, or clover's retrospect. 1782. How dare the robins sing, when men and women here, who since they went to their account, have settled with the year, paid all that life had earned in one consummate bill, and now what life or death can do is immaterial. Insulting is the sun to him whose mortal light, beguiled of immortality, beneath him to the night. Extinct be every hum, in deference to him whose garden wrestled with the dew, at daybreak overcome. Yep. I found the ending. All right. 1789, the last poem in this book. The saddest noise, the sweetest noise, the maddest noise that grows. The birds, they make it in the spring, at night's delicious close. Between the March and April line, the magical frontier, beyond which summer hesitates, almost too heavenly near. It makes us think of all the dead that sauntered with us here, by separation's sorcery made cruelly more dear. It makes us think of what we had and what we now deplore. We almost wish those silent throats would go and sing no more. And ear can break a human heart as quickly as a spear. We wish the ear had not a heart so dangerously near. Thank you.